We're in Sandam, Main in Germany for the EFRA 1/8 IC Buggy European Championship. Who will take that all-important first place? Let's head over now to Nick Damon at the track for all the action.
And they're off! Slow start for Bloomfield, good start for Ronefalk, but it's all evened itself out during the first couple of corners. Ronefalk leads away, Bloomfield second, Savoia third, Bears got up to fourth, got past Boots in the start, and it is the 7 car of Carson Keller in fifth. They go sprinting up the straight. Oh, Barrow immediately! A mistake by Ronefalk puts Bloomfield into the lead as he goes to the cobbled corner, but how long can Bloomfield hold Ronefalk back? This is all about the front of the road, and Ronefalk already looking for a way round, and Bayer slightly touches the rear end of Ronefalk and causes a chain reaction that causes confusion all the way down the field. But it's Bloomfield leading the first lap of the 60-minute final of the 2014 EFRA 1/8 IC Off-Road European Championships. So immediately a question's being asked of Ronefalk. What can he do? Bayer easing a bit back off of Ronefalk, and it is of course Boots who is in fourth. And Savoia has suffered badly from the confusion that Bayer caused earlier on, and what well as now is Bloomfield looking to run a perfect line as Ronefalk is absolutely crawling all over as he comes down the straight on a big wheelie. Now Ronefalk looks there's no way you're going to get round the inside there, and Bloomfield now looking at the block checks. He doesn't want to let Ronefalk go. And Ronefalk looking to go round the outside of the Dragon. He's got him right through, but no, Bloomfield gets back. And in doing that, they slow each other up. But a superb battle there. And now Bloomfield, we're only a minute and a half in, the action's all over as Boots has fallen back. But it's now 1 and 2. 3 is the Bayer, and now coming back through to 4 is Savoia. 5 is Boots. 6 is, not sure, it's the leader in fact. So leader into 6. So Bloomfield carries on holding the lead as they clip round for lap number 3 over the Durango doubles, and Bayer holding on much better than they did in the semi-final, but I think that's probably because Bloomfield and Ronefalk are tripping each other up as they accelerate up the hill and round the cobbled corner. They come sprinting down the straight. They turn sharp, and immediately they push up the hill again for this very tricky F4E, and Bloomfield now, he's taken the advantage, he got ahead. A basic mistake on lap 1 by Ronefalk has given Bloomfield the chance to lead. The fact is, probably with clear air, Ronefalk can get away. But Bloomfield, using his skill, is just keeping him back. And again, very close there as Ronefalk looks left, looks right. And they go firing up the hill again and right round the cobbled corner where the Agama of Bloomfield just looks so good, whereas the Kyosho is just so good everywhere for Ronefalk, and that's why he can put the core laps in. Bloomfield enjoying this period in the sun, this period in the lead. He's managed to lead now for 5 laps and 2.5 minutes. But it's all about first and second. Bloomfield there, lost a bit of momentum, managed to keep it going. This is some unbelievable precision driving and a bad landing, and Ronefalk will give a tiny bit of breathing to Bloomfield as he streaks away. We've got the last 2 European champions here. Bloomfield won in 2012 in Austria, and last year Rheims in France. It was Ronefalk who won this. So in fact, Bloomfield, of course, overtook Ronefalk with a couple of laps to go in 2012 to win it. And suddenly, Bloomfield sees a bit of air gap between himself. Bayer still 3rd, Savoia 4th, Boots 5th. 6th place now is car 9 of Martin Molanka. But already, Ronefalk now begins to creep back up to him with 4 minutes and 10. Oh, they're both in the air. Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear. Almost put off slightly there, Bloomfield, as Ronefalk came across him. Bad landing. Not as serious as it could be. There's a major problem for the number 4 machine of Boots is upside down. And now, Bloomfield has to try and stop Ronefalk from clearing off. And they can only do that by driving absolutely at the maximum. The overtake was caused almost by confusion. Now, Bloomfield lands on him, and he's waiting, and Bloomfield waited for a very long time there, and he's ended up into the lead goes Bayer. So Bayer benefits. Bloomfield down to 4th, Ronefalk 2nd, and it's Renault the Shark Savoia who's there to hunt down the young Swede, whereas Martin Bayer, who has won 2 European Championships last year in 4-wheel drive, off-road electric, and in 1/5 large-scale IC, is now suddenly Ronefalk under major pressure from Savoia in 2nd and 3rd. 2nd and 3rd is where we need to be. Savoia and Ronefalk, and suddenly Ronefalk managed to pull a gap on Savoia, and Savoia now has to worry about Bloomfield. But place in the sun for Bayer. He's leading the European Championship finals. I think he did for a couple of laps last year, but Ronefalk not got away yet, and we are just under 5 minutes in this hour final. Bayer, Ronefalk looking to go around the outside. That'll be a brave move at the end of the straight. And they now turn around. 4 cars in a line in 1, 2, 3 and 4. It is Bayer. Ronefalk hit Bayer, and perhaps he should have waited, and they're all over everybody. Savoia's got a problem. And they've all kind of got, and suddenly Ronnefeld's got away. Now, I don't know about that. I think Ronnefeld should have waited off hitting Bayer. I don't know whether he get called by the refs. But Ronnefeld gets away, and this could be, but it is Bloomfield in second. Savoya's in third. Bayer unlucky they're not in fourth. But this is Ronnefeld with the air gap he needed. He crossed the line now, and he has a lead of 2.5 seconds for Bloomfield, just from those accidents a couple of seconds ago. And Bloomfield now has to try and do what he couldn't do during the semi-final, actually catch him back up again. So Ronnefeld leads, Bloomfield second, Savoya's third. In fourth place it's Bayer. In fifth place it's Wolanka. In sixth place Carsten Keller. Boots is already fading and it's just fallen down in front of him. And suddenly a mistake there and Ronnefeld loses it again. So Bloomfield gets through a mistake by Ronnefeld and Bloomfield gets back into the lead again. Already after 6 minutes, we've got a much more open final we thought we had, and that's before any sort of fuel strategy comes into it. What will they do about timing of fuel? As in the lead, it is Darren Bloomfield from David. Now, Ronnefeld now is nibbling again. He got called for this in 2012. You have to make a clean pass, David. Otherwise, you will get a stop and go. And Bloomfield now is backing Ronnefeld up into Savoya's path. Robert Bataille flying in 8th, but obviously he's got to get through the traffic, it's like 10th. Certainly under the double-doubles, it appears there that Ronnefeld has an advantage, but he can't necessarily make the move. Bloomfield going up the hill, very, very good round this cobbled corner, and then sprints down the VRCV before powering back up again for the angle. And the mistake by Bayer has dropped him right out, so it's now Wolanka in 4th, 1, 2 and 3, so it's Bloomfield, Ronnefeld, Savoya, and now the number 9 machine, Martin Wolanka, is in 4th place. Up the front, we have 5 European Championships of the last 6 years. The only person missing is the man who won here in 2011, which was Robert Bataille. As they go through the V again, and we're coming up now to start thinking about fuel stops. With an hour stop, they're going to try and run longer. And Ronnefeld going at the inside. He's tapping again. Ronnefeld has got to make a clean pass. So far, he hasn't managed to do it. Bloomfield driving absolutely superbly. And what I would do is I'd start thinking about fuel strategy. Trying to get Ronnefeld into clean air and overtake during the fuel stops. Because that would be the best chance to do it. Because Savoya now is nibbling right at the rear of Ronnefeld's tail. The calculation now being made by the pit crew must be immense as they're getting another bad bounce for a couple of the drivers and more problems in front. The ooze you hear for cars crashing further down the field, but we have a 1, 2, 3 and we have a race into the pit stops. A slight mistake. Oh, Ronnefeld made a mistake coming in. Ronnefeld has a mistake coming in. It's all gone wrong for Ronnefeld there, and I don't know if he even got came to the wrong place, got picked up. Massive mistake for Ronnefeld on the fueling there. I think he got unsighted by the minor mistake that was made by Bloomfield. Ronnefeld made a huge mistake and then compounded it by not being put through. So Ronnefeld suddenly, the man who we guaranteed you was going to win, is dropping back, but he has got 52 minutes to make it up. So the first stop of around 8 minutes. When will the Shark go in? The Shark is our leader. We need to be with... he fueled now. So that is the fueling for Savoya. And Savoya comes out in the lead. In fact, he just lost it on the course. And Savoya and Bloomfield are tied together for the lead now. Ronnefeld is further back after those errors, but catching all the time. So Ronnefeld had a huge problem, but Bloomfield now pushing away. He's seen his chance. The fastest man is David Ronnefeld, but he's got to get in I think he has to get clean air to do that. So in the first, it's Bloomfield. In second is Savoya. Third is Ronnefeld. The gap to Ronnefeld is... Actually, Martin Wolanka is currently leading, but he goes for fuel stop. So Wolanka currently leads, but Bloomfield is running in second. I think Wolanka just made the fuel stop, in fact. So that is your 1, 2 and 3. Wolanka had a brief period of the team as the fuel stops came through, but Bloomfield now has a lead of 2.8 seconds over, and Wolanka has come out in third. So let's hold back for the second, third, fourth battle coming now, Frank. And there we go. It is Savoya. It is Wolanka who's got himself into third place. Oh, and now Ronnefeld's upside down. Ronnefeld upside down, and he picks up to join again. So it's not going his own way. If he wants to become a European champion again, he's going to have to work for it, as he got mixed up with Martin Wolanka. So let's stick with Ronnefeld as he attempts to get back. Bloomfield leads. Savoya is second. In third, Martin Wolanka in the 9 machine. Fourth is the Kyosho of Swede, David Ronnefeld. And they come round now. So your times you. Bloomfield 3 seconds ahead of Savoia. Savoia 1.5 over Walanka and 3 further back for Ronefalk. And they keep on moving. And now we finally have a moment of calm as we go between the first and the second of our So here we go. Another lap has been passed, and there's the attempt to come back from David Ronefalk. Just to give you an idea, he's now closing up on Walanka. Walanka is the car in front of him. That's the third place man, Martin Walanka. The Austrian on the X-Ray with the FX engine. He's gone to the Kyosho-Orion combination of Ronefalk, comes down the straight, and he's now hunting down third place, which is obviously, he then has to get through Savoia for second, and then get through Bloomfield for first. Ronefalk very quickly caught up to Walanka. He's got a lot more ground speed than Walanka has, and that's obviously a big advantage for him as they come down the hill. 48 minutes to go. Oh, and a mistake there as he gets through. It looks like Walanka almost let Ronefalk through there. And at the same time, I was looking down in front of me as Renault Savoia made a minor mistake. So Renault Savoia, which is the next target to be acquired by Ronefalk, but Walanka does appear just to have said, no, fine, I can't live with you, and let him go. Savoia underneath us now, and already a bad pit stop and an accident with Walanka is the reason why Ronefalk, the man who took 4 TQs in the 5 qualifying rounds, is not currently the TQ now. Well, the TQ is not in first now, but he's gaining on Savoia. Savoia comes over in second. He times it with a 29.3. Ronefalk a 28.1, a 1.1 second gain on a lap which nothing much seemed to happen to anybody. And Bloomfield's made a mistake in the lead as well. They're all coming together as off camera Bloomfield makes a mistake coming over the double doubles. So Bloomfield still has a reasonable lead. Probably about Bloomfield's over! Bloomfield's over, and into the lead goes Savoia. And into second place goes Ronefalk, and it's third now for Bloomfield. So Bloomfield, 2 mistakes in a lap, and suddenly his comfortable lead has disappeared, and it's the Shark, the 3-time European champion, who leads going into 13 minutes and looking quite close now to our second stop. But he's now got the issue that he's got Ronefalk right behind him. The wily Shark, the master of the long final. Bloomfield must be kicking himself because he blew a brilliant lead in a couple of mistakes in a couple of corners. But that's the pressure he's trying. Oh, and now the Efra corner has caught out Ronefalk. And Ronefalk then has a tangle with Walanka, who does seem very, very subservient to him, and lets him go again. But again, as they've tried to push, that total ease in which Ronefalk has set fast times during qualifying, even the semis, has disappeared. So now it's Savoia leading, and he's leading by 2.3 seconds. And a mistake again from Bloomfield has left him down to 4th place. Carsten Keller falls off the track in 5th. Svensson now is in 6th, but he's in 5th. And suddenly, Savoia looks to have a reasonable lead. Second place is Ronefalk as we enter, getting close to 14 minutes. 3 seconds is the lead for Savoia. And a brilliant overtaking manoeuvre there by Bloomfield. He's jumped over Walanka, and now he has to try and catch Ronefalk, and Ronefalk has to try and catch Savoia. So far, this final has been significantly more exciting than any of us expected, though we're not a quarter way through yet. Savoia crosses the line. His lead now is 2.4 seconds. It's been hunted down very quickly by Ronefalk. Ronefalk himself is also being hunted down very quickly by Bloomfield. So Bloomers up the hill. Oh, he was lucky with the landing on that one. Let's shift our focus to Ronefalk, Frank, because he's in between the two. Either Bloomfield's going to come to him, or he's going to come to the leader, who is Savoia. And Savoia's upside down the main straight! And into the lead goes Ronefalk. So Ronefalk picks up the lead as Savoia made a mistake on the straight and rolled the car. So it's taken 15 minutes and get back in the lead again. But Ronefalk now leads. Another problem for Bloomfield. And Bloomfield drops back down again. So it's a mistake fest around the 15-minute mark. But we do now have the man we thought would be in the lead in Ronnefout. In second place, it's Savoya, my tip, just because he's just probably one of the more intelligent racers, with Robert Battle, who unfortunately just can't get himself moving forward at the moment due to his poor grid position. And they're coming up to lap Martin Bayer, which they've done. And Bayer's been lapped with 45 minutes to go. We're only a quarter away, and the leader by 1.3 seconds is Ronnefout. But Ronnefout now has a bit of clear air. And this is what we saw last year. Last year it was Ronnefout against Savoya. Bloomfield, I think, has stopped for fuel because he's dropped so far back he must have made a fuel stop. So he's got himself out, and indeed he has. Let's take our leader through for his fuel stop. That all went wrong last time. This time, Adrien Bertin gets it in properly. He's going to need to be helped through traffic. And he is a long way ahead of Bloomfield, who's had a couple of really torrid laps and has dropped a long way off the pace. Savoya going a lap or two longer. I don't think at the end of the day that's going to save him a stop, but he is at least taking the lead and he's in between pit stops. Savoya comes down, and our leader's in the pits, so we'll see where he comes out. Just one lap after us. No, Ronnefout takes the lead, and luckily gets out in front of the 11. So Ronnefout leads by about 2 seconds from the Shark, from Renault Savoya, with the X-Ray with the sweep tyres. The AKA Shod, Ronnefout leading, and suddenly after a fantastic opening period, Bloomfield's dropped right off at the moment, and he's something like, he's in fourth anyway, behind Walanka, but he's about 8 seconds back. What he needs to do is get his head down and start turning the sort of laps he can turn. But I think even the point, the problem is that you have an issue where that Ronnefout is away and gone, and he's gaining at quite a pace. He's 2.7 seconds ahead now of the man we're with, which is Renault Savoya. And Savoya, I don't think, is going to have a problem with the ground speed to catch him up. So that tricky first quarter of an hour looks to be over, and now perhaps it's the case that we'll see the true speed of David Ronnefout over the next 3/4 of an hour, but obviously that's a huge amount of time. So the first time in 15 minutes we can take a breath. The lead now is 2.7 seconds, Ronnefout to Savoya. Savoya is ahead of Walanka. Walanka is ahead of Bloomfield. Bloomfield is Svensson. The Boots is 6th. Battle is, sorry, Keller is 6th. Boots is 7th. Martin is 8th. Battle is down at 10th at the moment, and having a bit of a torrid time, if truth be told. In fact, I think Robert Battle is about to get lapped. So we move now to our leader, who's coming underneath me, Frank, and going up the hill. That's Ronnefout, and Ronnefout is about to lap Battle, and it's been a bit easy as Battle's fallen over. So Battle is lapped, and that is almost a result, I'm sure, of his starting position and never getting a clear run, because according to Phil, he had the speed. So we go in the mid-phase. We have 42 minutes to go. We are down 18. The lead is 3.7 seconds to Savoya. It looks like about 0.3 of a second a lap is what Ronnefout has. And now he's got himself in clear air. He's got a chance just to concentrate, just to ease it back. Just take it carefully. Not to worry too much. Savoya's still there, but slowly slipping back. Bloomfield just had 2 or 3 too many accidents around the 13-minute mark, and that kind of lost the whole thing. Well, not the whole thing, lost the thing temporarily. As you can see, Battle can sort of hold on to Ronnefout now, as far as race pace is concerned. And the lead drops with another 0.2, goes up to 4 seconds. So a tricky start for Ronnefout. And now, with 40 minutes to go, perhaps an easier middle. So Ronnefout soon will be coming up to a 3 cars, which is Linu, Boots and Martin, who'll be his next victim for lapping. His lead now 4.1 seconds. Savoya still turning the laps. Walanka still very happily in 3rd on the podium. And Bloomfield isn't really making any impression on anybody at the moment, so I'm not quite sure what's happened to Darren, whether one of those accidents has caused an issue. And they cross the line again. The gap back to Savoya is now 4.7 seconds, so a good gain there. Now, the referees will obviously ease Ronnefout's passage past these 3 cars. Linu, Martin and Boots. None of them want to be lapped this early on. We are just 20 minutes into this hour final, so third distance, and after quite a tricky start. And they're getting each other's way now. They'll be asked to move out the way, and there is Linu getting out the way. Marty will be next to be lapped as a wasp tries to attack me. So officially 20 minutes down and 20 to go. And as Phil says, Phil Morton is very surprised he's so many mistakes after a frantic start to the final. But now everyone's relaxing, and it appears to me the man most relaxed at the moment is David Runnerfalk. If he gets past Lee Martin, it lets him through. His lead now is 7 seconds, so absolutely in clear air. Runnerfalk now is virtually a pit stop ahead. Bloomfield is now actually trying to get near Walanka. Let's pick up the battle here between Bloomfield and Walanka. Up there to the cobble corners. It's the battle for third. Walanka has third. Bloomfield now trying to pick it back again after a very poor period of the race. I'm not sure he may have taken his pit stop or whatever, but Bloomfield now is trying to pick up the last podium position from Martin Walanka, and then he needs to start setting some decent times and getting up into the battle of the second again. So Walanka, who's a surprise third place from ninth on the grid, is looking quite assured really of this position, but I'm sure if Bloomfield get past him, he can pull ahead. And he zips up the inside. A lovely overtaking manoeuvre there, wasn't there? That was a great overtaking manoeuvre at the bottom end of the front flat section, using the zip of the Agama. And now Bloomfield already has pulled out a huge amount of times. He was being slowed up quite a bit by Walanka, and I think now his aim must be to try and catch Savoia, because I think that unless there's a mistake made by Runnerfalk, his lead's been trimmed slightly by having to go through traffic to 7 seconds. Bloomfield now looking particularly good. So it's Walanka makes a minor mistake. It's Bloomfield who comes through. As you run down now, it's Runnerfalk from Savoia, from Bloomfield, from Walanka, from Svensson, from Keller, from Boots, from Marty, from Lino, from Battle, and into the pit comes Darren Bloomfield. That one's a quite no problems, no drama pit stop for Darren. But stopping as he is sort of every 7.5 minutes. Not stretching it, but no one. There's always a mistake has been made by Savoia. I can see out the corner of my eye, which is going to put him possibly into the clutches of second place. He's now 10 seconds back from Runnerfalk after a mistake in the corner. Where is Runnerfalk? Let's pick him up. He's coming. Where is Runnerfalk? Where's our leader? And our leader pits. Take the leader to the pit stop as he comes in. This is probably the only moment where things go terribly wrong. And this pit stop doesn't, so again, the engine runs true, the engine runs clean. He stops, and temporarily, Savoia is much, much closer, but effectively already, he has a pit stop in hand, and there's a huge confusion there. It's costing Savoia a lot of time, as all the cars are together at the same time, and Savoia really needs to pit now to get out of this position. So Runnerfalk is a pit stop and about 4 seconds ahead. Bloomfield's had another problem and dropped back. Small problem, I think, not a big problem. As Savoia pit, so we need to see what Savoia and Runnerfalk is as they go down. So they've now all made their third pit stop. Cars are bunching, there's a lot of clumping of the cars here. And in fact, the battle for second is on, and the battle for second is on, Frank, right in front of us as they made the stop. As Savoia indeed lost a bit of time to that, and now Bloomfield is pushing for second place. They go up towards the cobble corner as we are now 4 minutes down. So Bloomfield, after a poor period, is beginning to get a bit closer. But he needs to now battle with Savoia. But obviously the elephant in the room is just how far Runnerfalk is ahead now. And they actually cut the time being. Runnerfalk has a 13-second lead. But obviously the first thing if you want to try and beat him is to get into second place, and Bloomfield and Savoia are right together as they battle for that second position. Bloomfield looking to get round the inside of Cobble Corner up to the VRC Pro V, and he's going to through the Effra corner of uncertainty, and he gets on the inside. There's traffic, there's so much traffic on this. It's obviously with a 29-second lap and 12 cars. There is a lot of traffic here, and suddenly you see cars everywhere. Not always cars that are competing, but serenely going ahead now is Ronefalk after a frenetic first 13 minutes, but there's a battle royal on now for second place between Savoia and Bloomfield. Savoia suddenly gets a bit of a drive. Bayer, who was up there with the leaders the first few laps, probably he's about to get lapped by second and third. He's been lapped by Savoia already, and I'm sure he'll be asked to move over for Bloomfield any second now. He does very expertly and adroitly. But all that has meant that Savoia now is getting away on ground speed from Bloomfield. The thing to remember is the 1 hour final is tyre wear will come into this. Now, I'm sure they have selected their hardest tyres to last the hour, but there will be a question during the last 15 minutes where some cars are going to have significantly more grip than others. And that will make a difference all the way down the field. I can't believe for a second that Ronefalk is going to have a problem. As Ronefalk eases his lead out again, and he's 14 seconds ahead. Bloomfield now trying to get back into second place from Savoia. The Frenchman, three-time European champion with the X-Ray. Well, he was previous European champion, now on the X-Ray. Behind him, the single European champion. Both these drivers won all their 4 European champions with different machines they're driving now. And in fact, this is a chance now to take a long run. It's going to be a chicken run. What a fantastic overtake there. Bloomfield came down, full power, full wheelie, and just muscled his way through in a very sort of fair but aggressive way to get past Savoia. That's the overtake of the year, I think, on that one. Fantastic stuff to get through. Bloomfield now, gets a huge tank slapper and gets away with it because the tank slapper actually took out Savoia, and Martin Walanka's joining this party, so Walanka until the accident, and also the Svensson as well. No, Svensson's a lap back, so it's Walanka who joins the other car is the back marker. So Bloomfield and Savoia giving us a battle royal for second place here. 1, 2 and 3 on the grid are 1, 2 and 3. In fact, it was the 0 car of battle who was getting involved in that. And a big tank slapper for Savoia. Puts him a long way back. And now the battle, if you wait for, is for 9 and 3 for third place. Going to the Effra corner now as Walanka got past Savoia there. And Bloomfield now happy in a way in second. And Savoia after issue lost a bit of rear grip and dropped into fourth place. So now it's the battle of third and fourth between Martin Walanka and Renault Savoia. Right behind Savoia is the car 12 of Timu Lino, but Lino is a lap back from both of them. As there's a bit of a problem. Battle is also a lap back and needs to let Savoia go, and he does. The lead now between Ronefalk and Bloomfield is a lot. And I'll tell you what it is now. The lead is Ronefalk leading by 16.5 seconds in Bloomfield. Walanka in third and Savoia in fourth are pretty much, as you can see, divided by 1/2 of the Team Durango double. Walanka's car is almost completely free of sponsor stickers. I'm not sure if he actually pays for everything himself, but it's pretty impressive he does. May just be a new body, of course. So Walanka takes another lap through, and we are now about 1.5 minutes from halfway. And they just move through the 3 and the 9. Nine and 3, 3 and 9 up. So there's Bloomfield. So Bloomfield's gone and lost it. And suddenly, second, third and fourth are back together. It's Walanka who has second. It's third for Savoia. It is fourth for Bloomfield. And Ronefalk is only about, huge problem for Bloomfield. So Bloomfield is not only fourth, but fourth by a long way. And any second now is going to get lapped. Because Ronefalk is coming up and coming hard into Bloomfield. He's just not be able to keep the car on the island enough. Simple as that. Probably got the pace. And another problem there for Battle is probably just frustrated as heck about what happened at the semi-final. So Bloomfield, who got into second place, is now back into fourth. The battle is, though, between, let's move forward to the battle between Wolanka and Savoya, for second place in front of us here in the Team Durango doubles, and over the washboard section underneath our TV timing tower, I don't know, our TV timing thing. Oh, and a problem there for the back markers. There's a lot of traffic around Bloomfield, probably just sitting in his mind going, this really isn't working for me at the moment. Let's see if I can get a podium. Ronafalk getting closer and closer to lapping the field. And Savoya, another spindly jump across the first half of Durango doubles, drops slightly off Martin Wolanka, who's absolutely a surprise package his final in second place. The Austrian driving an X-Ray with an FX engine and RB fuel. And we are now halfway through the race, and Ronafalk is doing what we thought and leading by a mile, but it took him an odd way to get there. And the interest has been generated by Martin Wolanka in second, Renault Savoya in third, and Darren Bloomfield in fourth. So Bloomfield's made another stop. That's a halfway stop. So we're with Wolanka, the number 9 car. Slightly overturned into the VRC corner, and they'll be stopping for fuel soon. And will he be able to stay ahead of Savoya during the full stop to keep this second place? Wolanka does stop fuel. Let's take him in and out for fuel. Doing an extra lap is Savoya. So Wolanka now will try and go as fast as he can to retain that lead he had when he entered the pits. Oh, that's not a good start. Lost a huge amount of drive there, the second part of the Durango doubles. It's very difficult. You lose your rhythm when you get in the pits. It all goes, your mind's completely focused. The problem with Christopher Spence's on his back, just he went past there. Now, I'm not sure if Savoya, and Savoya has got in this time, so we'll be able to see where Wolanka is in relation to Savoya. Savoya has been fueled, Savoya's been released, and Savoya's got him during the pit stops. That problem in the second of the Durango doubles is what, and he's had another problem here, is what has handed second place to Savoya. No real movement by Bloomfield there, and Bloomfield any second now is going to find himself lapped by the leader. So let's drop back and pick up the number 1 car of David Ronafalk as he goes now round towards the VRCV, because he is 2 cars away from lapping the man who was leading him only about 15 minutes ago, and that is Darren Bloomfield. So the masterclass we expected took a while to start being run, but Ronafalk's car still looks fantastic, quite smoky there under the low drive. But he's any of his drivers are really pushing the fuel mileage. They can't make 10, so there's no real point. Making 9 makes sense in the 45-minute final. As Darren settles down for a bit, it enables him to keep the distance between himself and Ronafalk about the same. Swedish driver, Akosha in the Orion. He's leading now by a long way from Renault Savoya, who's second. The leaders will pick up on your screen any second now with 27 minutes to go. He's leading by 20 seconds. Wolanka is third. Bloomfield is fourth. Not yet quite lapped, but almost. And there are a couple of cars in between Darren and the man we're with now, who is our leader, car number 1, who hops past is Christopher Svensson there, which is always quite a fun way of doing things. So the Durango double again. We are over halfway. We're now into the second half of this 1 hour final. Not quite a demonstration run from David Ronafalk, but it is pretty damn impressive. Bloomfield has just like stumbled 2 corners ahead. And another problem for Battle. But all of a sudden, and we're going to move ahead here because second and third's got close again right underneath us. Savoya and Wolanka are right together. They battle for second and third. But Savoya, who was pulling away, they hit each other. Wolanka gets through. So Wolanka is the beneficiary of that one. What this is doing is drawing Bloomfield back towards them again, and Battle kind of getting in the way a bit now. Battle, who we would have put Battle and Lena behind them, having their own battle. But they are getting a little bit in the way of the other members of the racing fraternity who are a couple of laps further ahead. And I feel really sorry for Rock Battle, who I really think would have been challenging very strongly with Ronafag if it hadn't been that problem at the end that put him a long way down. And it must be so frustrating for Battle. The only plus point is he's got another chance, another big meeting just 6 weeks' time as the World Championship in Messina. So it isn't like this is the end of the season. He's got a chance to get it back, and his car did look good. Just that problem in the last minute or last half minute of the semi. And now Walanka is ahead of Savoia and has second place as they bump over the washboard section. Ronafag can ease back his pace now. He's just metering with everyone else. He's got 3/4 of a lap, and he's not really trying to do anything more, I don't think. He hasn't gained much in the last 5 minutes on Bloomfield, but he doesn't need to. He can now start conserving things. He can start conserving his tyres. He can start conserving his fuel. He can start not taking risks. Bloomfield, another massive wheel, he's going straight. Savoia attempting to catch up to Walanka, who's doing a fantastic job, the Austrian. In second place. Car number 9. Two bites the cherry for the VRCV there for Savoia, and he's actually now beginning to, he's not only just slightly dropped off, my goodness me, that was a triple Salco with toe loop, but it ended up pointing in the right direction, and he got a 5.7 from the German judge for that one. But what has happened now is third and fourth together is Bloomfield, who hasn't made a mistake for the last few minutes, at least I think the last 6 minutes, is now catching right up with Savoia. But what is noticeable is suddenly Ronnefelt's got a spurt on again, and Ronnefelt now is getting very close to putting a lap on both fourth and third, and lapping the whole field is not too far away with 24 minutes left of the 1 hour final. So Bloomfield now trying to get himself on the podium. If you can't win, get yourself on the podium, you get to spray some champagne, you get to be in the pictures. Everyone thinks you're a hero. He turned sharply there. And there we go. Bloomfield now hunting down the shark as we get close to the next set of fuel stops, these two drivers. I mean, Savoia will probably going 2 or 3 laps after Bloomfield. Walanka now in clear air is clearing off and getting a couple of seconds lead. But Bloomfield now comes back to the back of the shark again. And he's got him. Oh, a bit of bad bounce, a bit of bad landing for Savoia. He drops to 4th, and Bloomfield picks back up into 3rd. He's been in just about every single position in the top 4 about 11 different times, including leading until he blew that one. And whilst this recent period of the race, now he's bounced himself back out of the second place as well. And then upside down is Savoia, and Savoia gets going again. And the car behind Savoia is Ronnefelt coming to lap them both. And the net result of that is Walanka's getting away. So in between, it's Bloomfield, and then the next car is Lena, who's lapped. The next car is Savoia, and the car behind Savoia, so let's concentrate on Savoia, please, because coming up behind him now is David Ronnefelt, as we see Bloomfield pit for fuel. So Ronnefelt is a lap ahead at the moment of 4th place. And he will come up very soon to Savoia's X-Ray. The Kyosho of David Ronnefelt, with about 20 minutes to go, he's going to lap 3rd place. So he goes in for fuel. So Ronnefelt stops for fuel. We'll carry on with Savoia. Absolutely standard fuel stop there. No problem at all. At this point, Ronnefelt's under no pressure, so I can't see how the problems are going to come in. So it's really now down to whether Ronnefelt actually has a technical issue, because there just isn't enough time for anyone to mount a charge of 3/4 of a lap. Savoia pits. Oh, he doesn't. Oh, I thought he was going to pit. He's going to do another lap. Savoia shows second at the moment because Walanka has pitted. As Savoia now attempts to get past the 7th Carsten Keller. Be interesting to see actually if Savoia, I think he's going to come out behind Bloomfield at the end of all this. And I would think he would, if he got any sense, he'd stop for fuel now because he's getting a bit blocked. And he has a lot of sense, being a 3-time European champion, and he stops for fuel. Pulled in. Fuel goes in. Still goes out. And Bloomfield is happy for Bloomfield, is quite a bit away ahead of him. So Bloomfield again has got a reasonable amount of ground speed. And where's Ronefalk? Is Ronefalk a lap ahead of them all? I assume he probably is. Actually, not quite. So Ronefalk isn't a lap ahead. This is Ronefalk. Another mistake for Bloomfield there. And so let's go and follow them as they go to the VRC, the EFRA. There was a mistake by Bloomfield that dropped him back down to 4th. And there is Ronefalk, still about to lap Bloomfield. But of course, your second place man is Martin Wolanka, who's a long, long way ahead. He's got 4 seconds on Savoya. So fabulous performance by Wolanka. So Wolanka is really the surprise package, this whole thing. So I know it's pride now, but really Bloomfield's going to have to start putting his foot down. Like, I can't think with 20 minutes to go. He wants to get lapped by the man leading. I know it's a short lap for an 8th circuit, but you still don't want to lose by a lap, do you? Not when you started second on the grid. So he's putting the power down. He's tempted to get himself back again to Savoya. Your leader, Ronefalk, 82 laps, and he is about 22 seconds ahead of Martin Wolanka. Huge crowd here. Line the top of the hill and of course it comes down here with an amphitheatre. You can really see the whole track really well, but that Brands Hatch. For those of you who know English racing, and now third and fourth begin again, and we've seen this so many times already. I think in that we've seen that Bloomfield will close on Savoya. Don't forget Wolanka is second, and the car possibly slightly in shot at the back. This is Ronefalk. It's nearly a lap ahead of third and fourth. And a bad landing again there for Bloomfield as he goes up and over. He comes down the straight. And his gap between Bloomfield and Savoya is 1.3 seconds at the bottom step of the podium. And surely they can do something about Wolanka, the unfancied unfancied Austrian. Beautiful jump by Bloomfield, but he's not really gaining at the moment on Savoya. And in many ways, Ronefalk's not gaining on Bloomfield, but I think that's almost by choice. I'm sure Ronefalk has literally scaled back his speed by a quarter of a half a second, just playing it safe, playing it within himself, knowing that only a bad landing and a bit of an accident is going to rob him of his back-to-back European Championships. There's another minor mistake by Bloomfield. Now that's going to put him right in the clutches of Ronefalk, and he may be called to let him through by the judges, by the referees. At the moment it's not the case, but it's his little mistakes in Bloomfield that have really built up this lead of almost a lap for Ronefalk. First 13-14 minutes, everything was going great. And now, once Ronefalk got in the lead with some clear air, it was all over really. But suddenly it's all constantly back up again because Ronefalk's got back, and as you can see, Bloomfield has just found some sort of a laser power and is right back on the rear end, as he drifts beautifully around the corner of Savoya. So back on is the battle of third and fourth, and Savoya gets a little love tap there from Bloomfield, who's got like a third wind as he looks to pick up third place. So the X-ray of the three-time European champion Renault Savoya leads round the cobbled corner. Darren Bloomfield, the single European champion, the first British European champion ever in this class back in 2012. And they're just trying to get past the car that's upside down, not playing pretty very well. It's JQ's car. And more cars get between Ronefalk. And massive accident for both of them. And they'll be lucky if anyone's going to survive that one. What's happened is that's actually allowed Ronefalk. Ronefalk isn't interested. Ronefalk lets Bloomfield get past. Ronefalk is playing an incredibly clever game. It's very obvious he's not bothered. Ronefalk is just going to stay behind those guys. He let Bloomfield straight back again. He's absolutely pacing himself to his opposition. This is an incredibly mature drive. He could be lapping everybody. He doesn't need to, so he's not. And he just let Bloomfield back as Bloomfield got involved in a massive accident down the straight caused by Savoya falling off. This obviously means that Wolanka now is about 7 seconds up the road and looking like a pretty good chance of second place, as Bloomfield now again is behind Ronefalk. So Ronefalk now takes the advantage. What he'll do now, I expect, is move very quickly onto the back of Savoya and try and get past Savoya. Or is he just going to let Bloomfield back past again? That is the question. He really doesn't need to get involved in this. He knows that. He's a lap ahead. And that's what he's done. Ronnefalk is probably the most mature 19-year-old in the world. He is just literally knows, I've got this in my pocket. I don't need to get involved. And that is the sign of a true champion. He's got no ego. He just wants to win. He doesn't need to humiliate his opposition. He doesn't need to lay it down or say, oh, look at me, I'm a lap ahead. He's like, no, off you go. Go and have your accident. I'm just doing the times. I'm so far ahead of both of you, it doesn't matter. Martin Wolanka's 80, is 20 seconds behind me. And this is a fantastic drive by Ronnefalk. It really is. This is the sort of thing, if you're watching this at home, this is the sort of drive you need to aspire to. He's not showboating. He's not taking risks. He's made the break. He's kept the break. He knows what he has to do. Just do the times. Do the fuel stops. You haven't got to worry about Bloomfield. You haven't got to worry about Savoy. You haven't got to worry about Wolanka, even though I think Savoy and Bloomfield are going to worry about him. It doesn't matter. You don't need to worry. Just let them do what they're doing. They can't affect you. And Ronnefalk just cruising round. Let's move forward to Savoy, who's a bit further ahead there, as again Bloomfield gets in the way. Because Savoy now, at some point Ronnefalk's going to have to lay it down, because otherwise he's going to start falling back towards Wolanka. My guess is that it may be about now. They'll try and bridge the gap. They turn, and a mistake by Savoy. And Bloomfield must have pitted for fuel. So Bloomfield's had a long fuel stop, I'd say. So Bloomfield had another problem there on the fuel stop. And Bloomfield's challenge is rapidly diminishing. Martin Wolanka remains 25 seconds behind Ronnefalk and 3 seconds before. So Wolanka's also pitted for fuel. Savoy gets a bit of breathing space temporarily because Ronnefalk picks for fuel. We're now down to 14 minutes to go. And in goes Savoy. Stops hard. Comes out. This is where he was, but a long, long way ahead of Bloomfield. So Bloomfield had an absolute nightmare in a pit stop of some sort. Didn't see it at the time. So the real question here is whether Savoy, now in a bit of clear air, can do anything about Wolanka. Wolanka is 17.89 seconds behind Ronnefalk, who isn't trying. And Savoy is 10 seconds behind the Austrian Wolanka, who's taking his X-Ray and his FX, and actually is beating the X-Ray team leader, Renault Savoy, who's just fallen on his backside. But he's so far ahead of Bloomfield that it doesn't really matter. So let's see a bit of time with Wolanka. We're not seeing a lot of him on his own. Car 9 beneath us now, Frank. And he's just going up around the corner there. So it's Wolanka who's running in second. And basically just kept out of everybody's way. I think when you look at the fastest laps, Wolanka's not going to be 23.838 slower than several other people. Fastest lap so far is a 27.85 from Robert Battle, who's now pulled himself into 5th place, believe it or not, after being a long, long way behind. So Wolanka comes in, starts another lap. He is 17.8 seconds behind David Ronnefalk. And he is a long, long way ahead of Renault Savoy. He's 14 seconds ahead of Savoy. So he really has a lovely open area to play with. An open area he'll be playing with, hopefully he hopes the next 11 minutes. So we're getting close now to the point where drivers making their last pit stops. We'd have finished already in normal European Championship, 45 minutes, but this is an hour final. Battle has come up to 5th place, which is a brilliant performance, seeing what problems he had at the start of the race. And he's turning some very, very good laps. And actually, it's Battle behind. He just dropped back to 1 car. The Battle is in 5th. Obviously, Wolanka is a lap ahead of Battle, who's now actually trying to get his lap back. So suddenly, Battle has found some pace in the car after the problems he had in the semi-final. You have to say, without that problem in the semi-final, I'm almost certain the Battle, he would be on the podium, and almost certainly, I think he would have challenged Ronefeld all the way, as he looked very quick over a run. At this point, he's got an issue. He's a lap down. It's very hard to get past someone you're a lap down on. But he'd love to do that, so he can start having a go at possibly thinking of getting near Bloomfield and picking up the 4th overall. Wolanka possibly needs to have the same relaxed concept with 10 minutes to go that Ronefeld has, and just relax about it and just let him through. Because the possibility here, of course, that in his impatience, Battle will clunk him one, and he'll lose some of that big cushion he's got over Renault Savoia. And like that, but a bit harder. So this is not a battle, it's not a race position. Wolanka is 2nd, Battle is 5th. There's a lap between them. And I would think now, great move. Wolanka realised what was going on. He's let him go, and that's all gone wrong for both of them. That was bad luck. He let him go, and then it kind of got bite a bit there. And he's now got JQ in his tail. So that was unlucky, but it's free Battle up now to try and catch a 7-6 up to Bloomfield and take 4th. So it's not said that he's actually, how far is behind Bloomfield, is he? He is, so wait for it, quite a long way away. 9 seconds behind Bloomfield. Ronefeld has a 21-second lead with just 9 minutes to go. Let's find our leader, who's just below us here. Below you now, Frank, is our leader. This is Ronefeld. Absolutely running to a pace. I'm sure the tyres are a bit tired now. He's lapped the whole field up to 3rd place. Order is Ronefeld, Wolanka, Savoia, Bloomfield, Battle, Keller, Martin Boots, Lino, Svensson, Quadgreen and Bayer. Bayer, I think is, I'm not sure if Bayer's still running, he may be, but he certainly has some time off the track. He's several laps back. So as we watch Ronefeld now coming down to the VRCV, they put the power on. This is a driver who's completely driving within himself. He's probably 3/4 seconds slower than he needs to go. Round the roofing felt turn. All the power on the car as he turns now, start finish. The single flat section for turning right onto the Durango doubles. Durango doubles. Washboard section in front of the camera. And now, moving as he does, looping round the cobbled corner, and that's really another great lap. Let's see his lap. This is just a guy just turning practice lap. This is the sort of thing you do when you're trying to test fuel mileage. This isn't the sort of thing you do when you're winning the main final of the European Championships. That lap was a 29.3. He is about 3/4 of a second slower than he could go, because he doesn't need to go any faster. He destroyed the field with a period between about minute 14 and minute 30, and since then he's been on cruise control. 2nd place still Wolanka. 3rd place still Savoia. 4th place, Bloomfield and Battle are getting closer together as they're both getting closer to Savoia, but there's still a long way to go with 7 minutes left. 53 minutes of this final are down, and we are getting close to the final pit stop. And we'll stay with our leader until he makes that final pit stop, as I've missed it. And we'll pick up some of the other stories, but there's no obvious battles on track at the moment. We had an absolutely excellent and frenetic first 14 minutes, and in goes the last pit stop of this, the European Championship Finals. He hopes, will he again, if it doesn't flame out, he's won, or he doesn't break. That's one of the last problems that could possibly happen to him. Now he just needs to keep rolling, because even if his tyres go off, they're not going to make up 22 seconds on him. So that is the last pit stop happily carried out. Our 2nd place man, the surprise package, Martin Wolanka from 9 in the X-ray. Our 3rd place man at the moment, Renault Savoia, makes his final pit stop. Our fourth place man is Darren Bloomfield, who's going to be full of bruises and kicking himself, I think, really. It's not all over yet. We still have 5.5 minutes to go. We have seen in the past how things could just suddenly change at the last moment. Suddenly things change. Suddenly people lose momentum. Suddenly they break down. We have Robert Battle breaking down on the last lap of the semi-final. There's another mistake off camera for Darren Bloomfield, who I think at this point is tired and probably quite downhearted. I'm sure that second place man Martin Walanka is not downhearted. He's probably this is beyond his wildest expectation. As Ronefalk now begins the final 5 minutes. Let's go and see our second place man, car number 9, who is below us now of Martin Walanka. Walanka as he comes down to the VRCV. Who have we lost? Is that Savoya that's gone? Yep. Follow the camera there. I think that is Savoya. Was that Battle? Is it Battle or Savoya? I can't tell. It's a bright orange car. No, it's Savoya. Savoya. Oh, the Shark has fallen out of third place. And Bloomfield suddenly is looking back on the podium again. Though in all honesty, he's having an absolute nightmare underneath me. So goodness only knows where they actually are. No, it's Battle. Robert Battle has got past Bloomfield and he's up there in the top corner. Robert Battle has fought his way through as he goes over the time at the turn there, right down the straight now. It's Battle who has picked up third. It's a pit stop. Let's see where he comes out now. He's a final pit stop to make. Whereas Bloomfield, it looks like we're going to get a battle for the final position on the rostrum. There is Robert Battle in third. And right behind him is Darren Bloomfield. They fight for third place. Bloomfield has another mistake. I think Boots will let him through though. And Robert Battle has absolutely battled his way back up the field, and suddenly third place is quite tight, but Bloomfield really needs to make less mistakes. Walanka, a fantastic second, has to be for sure. Ronefalk with 340 is going to win this, but who will come third? Robert Battle really deserves a medal for what he's done. He just fell so far back and then really proved what he had. It hadn't been for that problem in the semi-final, and he's looking quite good now for a podium position, unless Bloomfield can finally get his head back in gear and catch up the, as we can see, not very far up the road here. So Bloomfield coming around the VRCV. I think if Frank's wide enough, you can probably see Battle, who had a slight jittery moment there over the Euros cobblestones as they try and get the third position in the European Championship. Stand on the rostrum, get some champagne, get a nice cup. Try and work out how on earth you're going to get on the plane on the way home. That's always the other problem. The power down. And let's move to Robert Battle, who's ahead there. So we'll move to Battle, who's going over the EFRA corner of confusion. Because Battle really is, I think, the other star of this race. Starting from 10th, terrible mess, has managed to walk him through. So all the podium guys are going to have something to feel happy about. Battle will feel happy about his final. He's not going to feel happy about his semi-final. Walanka's going to feel chuffed to bits for second. And Ronefalk has laid down a marker, which I'm sure people like Ty Tessman, Ryan Mayfield, and Ryan Cavalieri, Adam Drake, and all the other drivers, and Asushi Hara and the drivers from the Far East and from America will be very, very worried about this Swede when the World Championships roll around in a few weeks' time. Battle still has, with just 2 minutes to go, a lead of 3 seconds in the podium battle with Darren Bloomfield. And there he's made a mistake. And suddenly it's much, much closer for third. There's a little mistake by Battle has given Bloomfield the sight of blood. And they're back in the same frame in the last minute and 50 seconds. So Darren now swings it round. Oh, and Darren's got, basically it's go or go home time. And Darren now is giving it the full Monty, everything he can, but he's trying to chase the world champion, the man who won the European Championships here 3 years ago, for the final podium position here in Sandown-Man for the 2014 1/8 IC Off-Road Euros on RC Racing TV in association with Team Durango, EFRA and VRC Pro. We are down to the last minute and 22, and Bloomfield is right on the tail of Bataille, and Bataille tries to block it, Bloomfield no coming inside the outside, looking at the outside, and they come over there, and it's going to be another. Oh, down the straight again, and he gets tipped, and they come off, and again they fight, and I think he's going to let it get through, and he has. The referee told him to get it back. Bloomfield picks up the third place. They come together again. Battle comes third. At some point, I've got to leave this and go to our leader, but we still have 56 seconds to go. And this is the battle of third place. Suddenly his final explodes in the final podium position. Robert Bataille and Darren Bloomfield. Bloomfield has suddenly woken up again and found the speed to get in the number 2 spot. Battle so quick the whole time, and they come over again, and really there is nothing to lose. They're not that bothered about third. They say they want to be fourth, and Battle just lifts up very slightly with 35 seconds to go. As they come underneath it, I need to see where Ronafalk is. So Ronafalk now is starting his last lap. So we'll stick with the battle between Darren Bloomfield and Robert Bataille, and Bloomfield seems to be winning this one for third. But now, Frank, you need to go back to the camera there, and this is our fantastic performance by David Ronafalk, Kyosho Orion for Sweden, for Scandinavia. David Ronafalk wins the European Championship. We now need to switch our attention back again to Darren Bloomfield there. Second place is Martin Wilanko, and Bloomfield is going to pick up, it looks like he does, because of the mistake right at the end for Battle, and Bloomfield picks up third, but our winner is David Ronafalk.